A magical place in a magical country, Inle Lake in Myanmar. For hundreds of years now, the farmers have tended their floating gardens here. Time seems to have stood still. Traveling traders provide people here with anything they can't get from the lake. It's an austere life in a strongly Buddhist country. People trust in their faith and hope that someday they will attain the peak of human happiness, nirvana. The road into a faraway and long isolated world. The people of this village on the lake have lived for hundreds of years according to the rhythms of the lake. It's shortly after 7 a.m. Pu Win is, as always, in a hurry. Her children have to go to school, her husband to work in the fields. Before they go their separate ways for the day, the family eat together. They have rice and a few vegetables, as they do every morning. Pu Win's brother has something to eat too. He's a fisherman and will spend the day on the lake. It is the family in this isolated place that provides everyone with a safety net.
Men and women work together. Some work only the man can do, and some a woman will do. In the tomato gardens, the man will do the planting and pesticide sprinkling, but the woman will do the picking. On the betel leaf plantation, the man will do the preparation like cutting the bamboo sticks, but the woman will harvest.
Tanaka, the crushed tree bark, is used as sun protection and also as a cosmetic. 3-year-old Susu Pui submits patiently to the morning ritual. She's been going to preschool for some weeks now, an exceptional circumstance in a village where there was no school at all until fairly recently. Pui Win and her daughter aren't the only ones to head out for the day. The whole village is up and about. Tomato farmer Kiao Myu is heading for his fields. They are out on the lake. He has a busy day ahead of him. The farmer's rowing technique is unique. Nowhere else in the world is this method used, only here by the people on Lake Inle. They row with one leg wrapped around the oar, which leaves both hands free to work. Kiao Myu is proud of his floating gardens, which have been in his family for generations. He has spent a lot of money on new plants and on enlarging and fertilizing the beds. He's hoping for a good harvest.
When the time comes to grow the tomato plants, we worry. We don't know whether the plants will grow properly. We do not know whether the tomatoes will be good or bad. We're just doing it by guessing. Once the tomatoes start to ripen, then we have to worry about whether it will cover the cost. Only when we get a good price for the tomatoes, then the whole family is happy.
The fields have to be tended from the boat. If the farmer were to attempt to stand on his floating gardens, the entire thing would sink beneath him.
These floating farms are self-made farms. They are not here in the lake. We have to make them in the forest and test them in the water. If it doesn't float, then we have to adjust it with knives. When it floats, then we take it out on the lake with many people. After that, we start planting things like tomatoes and cucumbers.
Water hyacinth forms a base for the floating gardens. It holds up the beds so that they swim on the surface and can be cultivated. But why do the people here go to such lengths? The answer lies in their history. The Inta, or Sons of the Lake as the people here are called, came here several centuries ago after being driven from their land in the southeast of the country. Lake Inle was their refuge. So, with necessity the master of invention, they developed their ingenious method of farming. The floating gardens have not changed to this day. Like generations before them, the farmers fetch the rich silt from the lake floor for their beds. The aquatic gardens are constantly being enlarged to ensure sufficient income for the farmers. They work long, hard hours to prepare the beds for the plants and hope for a good harvest. The floating gardens are more than just fertile acreage on the lake's surface. They have one very important advantage over ordinary fields. When the monsoons come and swamp everything, the floating gardens simply ride it out, and the farmers continue to work on them. Garlic, onions, beans, chilies, cucumbers, it's all planted by hand. The produce is primarily for their own consumption. Any surplus is sold. Pui Win and her daughter, Susu Pui, have reached school. It was built only recently and is the pride of the whole village. The children no longer have to walk several kilometers to school in the next village. Around 60 girls and boys aged from 3 to 5 go to preschool here. The school day begins in this Buddhist country with the morning prayer recital. Then the children sing a song. The teaching is closely linked to the children's everyday lives. The teachers use simple methods to spark their curiosity.
Here we teach the children by encouraging their creativity. We give them intelligent games such as create and play, constructive play, and there is instrumental play. In these 6 rooms, they learn by playing.
It's time for Myo Win, Pui Win's brother, to go out on the lake. He's been a fisherman since childhood. watches the lake's surface intently, looking for bubbles. These tell him where the fish are. Eel, barb, and carp are native to the freshwater lake, which is about 10 kilometers wide and 20 long. It could be hours before Myo Win makes his first catch. But on Lake Inle, no one is in any particular hurry. People know how to be patient here, and the days when his basket would simply fill up effortlessly are long gone.
The reason for catching fewer fish is, how do I say, the fishermen are catching the fish even during the egg-laying season, without rest. So the fish population is getting smaller.
Around Lake Inle, time seems to stand still. Myanmar's change in government has had little or no impact on people's lives here, or at least not yet. The country is slowly adapting since the departure of the generals and opening up to Western influences, but life around the lake continues unchanged. Once a week, Hui Win sets off for market with a neighbor. The walk takes a good hour each way, nothing unusual in Myanmar, where nearly everyone walks. Only a lucky few can afford a moped, still fewer a car. The market traders also walk long distances in order to reach the markets where they sell their goods. Many of them come down from the surrounding mountains. The markets are their only source of income.
Oh, yes, it's very convenient. You meet friends and do the shopping for the whole week. As for the price, too, here is cheaper than the small shops in the village. Because those shops bought the goods and sell again at higher prices.
The sellers offer everything from herbs, spices, vegetables, and tea to fish and meat. Meat is mostly unaffordable. Only very rarely does either of the two women have enough money for a piece of meat.
It's not enough. There's never enough money, so less shopping. Some of us grow vegetables at home, so we don't have to buy so much. Meat and fish are so expensive, so we cannot afford it.
The market closes down in the early afternoon. It's time to head for home. For the children of the village, education is the only path they have to a better life than that of their parents. But for more than 50 years, the military that governed the country systematically neglected the education system. It's only very recently that Myanmar's teachers have dared to hope.
Education is very important. I have to say, from a very young age, when you are developing, then as an adult, you can achieve your goals. I think so. I want them to develop in many ways. Then they can go to the big cities, perhaps even to other countries. I want that to happen.
From their very first day at school, the children learn to regularly wash their hands. Hygiene is vital, particularly when your village has no sewage or drainage system and no running water. The shared lunchtime is also an important ritual, and not at all to be taken for granted. In a country which has an alarming rate of childhood malnutrition, according to international statistics lists. The floating gardens are passed down through the generations. Kyo Myo was lucky enough to be able to inherit his family's tomato gardens. His harvest today, however, is meager. The tomatoes don't seem to want to grow this year. He hurries back to the village in the hope that he'll still find a trader to buy his crop off him. Tomorrow it's market day in one of the larger of the lakeside towns. The trade in tomatoes is very unreliable. Kyo Myo can never be sure what price he'll get for his crop or whether his hard work will pay off.
The money we get from the tomato crops is not enough because the tomato price is not good. That is why. So during my free time, I look for other work.
The farmer also does casual work as a day laborer, like most of the men in the village. A day's pay is the equivalent of about €1.50. The women earn even less. They're paid about €1 for a whole day's weeding. Heavy labor is no better paid. People here are happy to have any work at all. These men are delivering dried tanafet leaves. These form the outer wrappings of the churut, a small cigar. The boss of the little cigar-making industry checks the quality of the goods. This delivery is first class and is taken into the store. The leaves are sorted before they're taken into manufacture. The women who make the cigars come from the village. And have been working for years in this small family-run business. They roll between 500 and 1,000 cheruts a day, depending on how skilled they are. The supervisor keeps very close track of production. What makes the aromatic cheruts special is their composition. They're not just made from tobacco. They're sweetened by the addition of fragrant chopped wood, tamarind, or unrefined cane sugar.
For the village, this business is very important. It gives the women a daily job, and they get a daily income. If the chariots do not sell well, then they also have less income.
Right now, the cheruts are selling well. About 200,000 of the brand Flying Tiger are produced every week.
For us, we are used to it, and it is convenient. With this cheroots business, we have our livelihood, and we can keep our children at the school.
The fisherman Myo Win has been out on the lake for hours now. Today, though, the fish simply aren't biting. Lake Inle is a shallow body of water. Its average depth barely 2 meters. In the dry season between March and May, parts of it dry up almost entirely. Decades of slash and burn farming methods on the surrounding hillsides have led to loss of forestation and widespread erosion. Topsoil is washed into the lake and it is slowly silting up. The fishing will get worse, but Myo Win has no intention of leaving his home.
I'm happy living on Lake Inle. It's a lot nicer than other places. Of course, there are many things I want. But I have to be content with what I have.
Myo Win is calling it a day. He'll go out on the water again another day. Perhaps next time he'll have better luck. Meanwhile, Pui Win and her neighbor have come home from the market. The long walk was at least worth it. Pui Win was able to get all the supplies she needed for the next few days. It's not much, but with the little available to her, she can only plan from week to week. Pui Win makes tofu on the open fire. Fried tofu is a special treat that she makes when she invites friends and family to come and have tea. Meat is rarely on the menu.
For the children, we sometimes feed them meat and fish for their strength.
Only once in a while, too.
When it is affordable.
Her brother comes over nearly every evening. It's usual for the sons to spend a lot of time in their parents' homes, even long after they have moved out and set up homes of their own. Once she was married, his sister took over the parents' house. She's lived here for 8 years now with her husband and 2 children and her father. The house has 2 rooms. There is no heating, no running water, and no toilet. Electricity is a recent addition. That's when it works. Every evening, Pui Win makes rice and vegetable curry for her family, the daily staple. Time for evening prayers. Dusk falls shortly after 6. By 7, it's completely dark. Shortly before sunrise, at precisely 5:26 a.m., the first pile is driven for the construction of a new house in the village. This exact time was calculated by an astrologer as the most propitious time to begin the build. Otherwise, good fortune will stay away. In Myanmar, no important decision is ever made without first consulting the astrologer. Building a house is a very important decision. The men chew betel nut to help them get through the day. The mix contains a mild stimulant with an effect similar to that of coca leaves. Slowly but surely, the house takes form. The village is regularly flooded during the monsoon season between May and October, so all the houses are on stilts. From the early morning onwards, the building site echoes to the sound of Buddhist prayers. Fisherman Mao Win lends a hand too, something that is completely matter of course. Whenever a new house is built in the village, it's a day of celebration. Anyone that can spare the time will come by and do their bit. Pu Win and her neighbor Tue Ju have taken the day off to lend their support to the future homeowner. They are making traditional wreaths that will bring good fortune to the new house and its owner.
These leaves, whenever they build a new house, they have to put them on a pillar. If there's an earthquake, or for example, if someone dies, then we will take them down and let them go into the water. If nothing happens, we leave them there, and they work like a good luck charm and protect the family.
The new owners have saved for years to be able to build this house.
When we can build our own house and start our own family, then our happiness is unlimited.
The framework of the house is slowly taking shape. Time for the Myanmar version of the topping out ceremony. Difficult to say when exactly the new house will be ready to move into. It depends on how many of the villagers have time to come and lend a hand. Kiao Myo has no time to spare today. A few tomatoes from every year's harvest go to the monks on the lake. The visit to the temple is a special occasion, and one for which he dresses in his ceremonial costume.
This is our traditional costume. In our Inle village, we always wear this traditional dress. It is a noble thing and something to be proud of, especially to be going to the monastery to bring the tomatoes as an offering.
The lives of the people here on Inle Lake are centered around their strong Buddhist faith. The many temple sites here, ancient and crumbling, attest to thousands of years of fascinating history. Around 80% of Myanmar's people are firm believers.
Buddhism is my religion, which I always rely on, and Buddha is my God, that I will always worship and adore.
Myanmar is also known as the land of the golden pagodas. These impressive structures can be found everywhere around the lake. The temple is a very holy place. It's a great privilege for Kyaw Mu to be able to come here, give the gift of his tomatoes, and spend a few reflective moments submerged in the world of his faith. Kyaw Mu is able to speak briefly to the monk.
We rely very much on people's generosity. They offer whatever they can. One or sometimes two households a day give us our daily food. In the morning, one household will bring something in, and often another later during the day, according to what they can give.
There are 8 novices living in this temple. It's a great honor for a family to have their child taken in by the monks. Generally, they can only afford to let their child stay a few days or weeks. The temple will expect a generous donation for the novice's instruction, so there is seldom enough money for a longer visit. Only a very few children stay for longer than a few months. Most return to their villages and to their families after a short while. Things are getting busy at the building site. More and more neighbors are coming along to help. The women are traditionally received with tea and cheroots. The new lady of the house is delighted that Tue Piu and the other women are there to help her.
We are very happy for them. We can remember when we build our own home, and we could live with our family in unity and happiness. So we can imagine how happy they must be to have a home of their own.
The house is coming along nicely. Shortly before 12, the men erect the last of the bamboo walls. After just 6 hours, the house is standing. Time to take a break. The village women, meanwhile, are preparing a celebratory meal. Everyone who lent a hand is, of course, invited to the meal by way of a thank you for the help they gave. There is rice with beans, curry, and a salad. In general, a meal like this would include meat, but the people building the house can't afford it. Which is also a reason why there weren't more people helping with the new build. After the meal, the family move into their new home, but they won't cross the threshold without a small prayer ceremony. Everyone is more than welcome to take a look around. It has much the same layout as most of the houses on the lake. 2 rooms, a small kitchen. The young couple don't have the money yet for a bathroom.
We still have a lot to do. On the one hand, we have to improve the roof, and the floor needs some more work doing too. And we would like to have our son go to the monks as a novice this year.
Pui Win has been impressed by the day's events. Numerous young couples from the village have managed to build themselves a house on their parents' land. She'd like to do the same, and so she has decided to visit an astrologer in order to find out more about her future.
I still live with my father, and I feel ashamed of that. And that is why I ask myself when I will have my own place. I also want to know about the health situation of my family. And I would like to know when I should make my offerings to the monks.
Astrology is at least as much a part of the villagers' daily lives as Buddhism. The astrologer, who used to be a monk and lived in a temple for 16 years, has been interested in astrology since his earliest youth. His skill is highly respected in the village. Prediction costs 1,000 Myanmar kyat. This is a day's pay for Pui Win. The astrologer takes down the names of family members, dates of birth, and star signs. Then he begins his calculations. Nearly everyone entrusts this task to him.
Some people are interested, and some of them are not. I would say maybe 70% of people go to the astrologer. Do they look on it as very important? Some of them think of it as very important, but I'd say for some, it's the most normal thing in the world. A lot of the people will not do any business or grow tomatoes without seeking advice. Some people won't bother. I'd say different people, different mentalities. But at least 70% of the people in the village would ask the astrologer before they build a new house, for their health, for the business, and so on.
The 38-year-old can't afford to visit the astrologer more than once a year. So she is more than happy when she hears his prediction.
We were told that we would be able to send our son to the temple as a novice. We will be successful and we will get a new home. I'm so happy to hear that.
Despite the astrologer's prediction, Pui Win knows that she'll have to work long and hard before she reaches her goal. A new house will cost her the equivalent of several years' pay. Pui Hui Win and a neighbor have found a day's casual labor helping with the sugarcane harvest. This earns them enough for a few days, but it's hardly long-term security.
For the children in the future, we want to try to keep them at school. If the family's situation is good, we want them to become educated and finish their schooling.
The sugarcane harvest is seasonal work. It takes place once a year. Then the fires in the small workshop have to be kept burning for 3 months to keep the ovens well heated. The sugarcane juice has to be boiled numerous times before it can be turned into a finished product. The resulting molasses are continually stirred and reduced until they're suitable as a raw ingredient for schnapps distillation or for the production of candy. People's lives here are characterized by hard work, fortitude, and sacrifice made bearable by their faith.
Oh, as you grow in this village, you see that there are people who are doing fine, and there are some who are not doing so well. However, our Buddhist faith teaches us that love and charity cannot be measured in length and width. But love comes and it goes. So, when someone is very friendly to you, then you return that friendliness. It has nothing to do with being rich or poor. We just maintain good relationships with one another. Buddhism also teaches us to treat one another with love and respect. So for those who keep this Buddhist teaching, we greet one another with love.
Life on Inle Lake is simple. No one is rich, but no one goes hungry. They cultivate a way of life and farming that is self-sufficient and adapted to their environment. And still, most people hope that their living standards will improve. A strong sense of community and, of course, their faith help them to accept whatever fate throws in their way. The people of Inle Lake will never give up their dignity.